Hi everyone and welcome to our post-out class. Today it's all about the kids, our kids. We're making a cute triple bridge fun fold card today. This is such a cute card using our bugs. I love this stamp set, and the designer series paper that goes with this is just amazing. So if you've joined me and you've ordered your kits and you've got your kits, I know there's a couple that still haven't got their kits, but watch it, and I know you're picking them up, and you'll be able to come back and watch the replay, and that's not a problem. I know life gets in our way sometimes and we don't get to do what we want to do, and we have to change things. So I know you're going to enjoy it when you get your kits and you get going. So this is exciting because we're doing our first card today, and then we'll be doing the second and third, and we'll see what time we have left to whether we do a fourth one. Yeah, so crafting all afternoon. Nothing better, is there? So let's get started because it takes a little bit of time. But before we do, those who don't know me and have joined in today, feel free to craft along without a kit. You can use whatever stash you have at home, okay? Yeah, so that's important as well. Yeah, and my name's Teresa Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I live in Warragul in Victoria. Have been for 19 years doing Stampin' Up! So crossing over into my 20th year. I'm excited about that because there's so much changes that have happened over 20 years, believe me, and there's more to come. But let's get started on our project. Let's come down to the workbench. Okay. Now, if you join in and I don't answer you or say hello straight away, it's because I've got my head down here and not looking up at the screen. For those who are watching the replay, welcome, and I hope you really enjoy the replay. Now, I did take time just a minute ago to grab out my little pieces because in this one, it's a little bit different because we are cutting out all the little pieces. So this was a product-based one, so you needed the product to follow along because all the cards are done in the same product virtually, so we need to have that to cut out. So the first thing we're going to do is grab our die cut machine. Now this piece here in your kit, this little piece here, is for your mushrooms to add some silver on them, so you can place it on there where you want. You want 2 little ones and you want 2 big ones, and you can have pink or the blue. And then you've got 3 little, a butterfly, a snail and a dragonfly. Oh my god, they are so tiny but so gorgeous to add onto your pieces. So cute. So let's put our pieces down here. We've got our caterpillar, we've got our bee, we've got our mushrooms, and then we've got our little ants that are marching. So go and grab them out and grab your die cutting machine. Now, while you're doing that, I want to give you a tip also. When you're lining up your pieces here, right down here you've got 2, 4, 6 little holes. Now, those little holes should line up on their feet. Okay, so when you put this over, if you can see the brown through those little holes, you know you've got that lined up on their feet. Okay, and you can sort of tell, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the brown through there. That is the best gold nugget I can teach you with this particular one. Okay, so let's grab our machine. Oh my god, I'm gonna just give my plate a bit of a clean because I've been using it. And it's got paper stuck on it. Okay, I should have cleaned that before. Okay, so we want our base plate, plate number 2 and our plate number 3. And then we want to line up our little bugs. Now, if you're a comfortable card maker, you might want to line up more than one thing on your machine. But if you're not comfortable, just do one at a time. Okay? Once you've got, make sure you've got your feet on there, down there. Okay, once you've got that, that's pretty good. Now you might want to use a post-it note, which I'm just going to go and grab my little post-it notes. I've left them on the bench. And I find that these tiny little square ones that you can buy these tiny little square ones. I've got washi tape here too, but these tiny little square ones are really good. Also, so you can sort of, if you're going to do more than one, make sure that you line it up, get it where you want, and then put your little post-it note across it. Okay, that's our first one. Then we've got our bug, so we're going to line that one up. There's no real big tip on this one other than you really want to make sure that you've got your antenna or your little feelers or whatever they're called up here in the right area. So let's put those two through first, because I know I've got some newbies and I don't want to overwhelm you. You can do, like I said, one at a time. So when you put your plate in, push your plate in towards the roller. Don't push, leave this up a little bit. Can you see there's a gap between here? Before you actually come down and put it down, because when you put it down, sometimes it moves like it just did, okay? So that's, you want to make sure that it doesn't move. So when I'm talking about using these, you need them over on the edge so that they don't move. Okay, so in, push, and then hold it down. Okay, make sure it's all lined up where you want it, and then you can wind it through. Hopefully that worked the way we wanted it to. Okay, so we've got our little ants coming out here. They're falling out, and it had moved. And that sometimes happens. I really don't use paper very often to hold mine down, but I did today and did an awful job of it, but they're still okay to use, okay? Don't throw your dies away, just the paper. Okay, so we'll go on our next one. These are tiny. Now, when you cut it out sometimes and you get this big white bit like that, that's okay. You know, you don't have to worry about that if it comes out like that, as long as you can see your whole ant. It's if you cut the ant's face off, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so let's just do our bumblebee. So we're going to line up our bumblebee here. And once again, because I'm sitting down, not overlooking it too, it makes it a little bit harder. Once you get it where you want, then come in and press down, okay? Once you're happy with it, if you're happy with it, come through. No, I'm not happy with that, because I could see when I was just about to push that through that it was a big gap over this side. Okay, so just check it when you're pushing it through. Don't think that you've got it lined up perfectly the first time. I just saw that the gap was right here, and I thought, oh my God, there's a big gap there. Oh, and I just threw all my pieces onto the floor. And can you see how that just moved? Now, sorry, I'm just going to pick my pieces up because I threw them all on the floor. I'll put them all down here and hopefully I won't lose any of them. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It's one of those mornings. Don't throw your stuff on the floor, Teresa. I'll move it over to this side. Okay. Now, I know some people aren't fussy with this, and I'm not usually fussy either. I just normally put it down and go for it. But I know I've got some new people, and I just wanted to explain a little bit about this machine with our new people. Okay, so it's why I'm taking a little bit more extra care. Press down and push it through. And as you can see, I didn't use anything this time, and it's come out pretty good. I like to do it this way, but look, you can use washi tape, Post-it notes if you feel uncomfortable. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, now we've got our little mushrooms, and I'm just going to place them on there. You need to look both sides because you don't want a gap on one side. And I'm just going to put my die here with all the other dies. Pop my plate on, come down, and then wind through. Okay. Once you get the hang of it, you'll feel more comfortable. Okay, you can cut the little flower out if you want to, guys. That's entirely up to you. Okay, now on this piece, you're going to cut out your mushrooms. Now, the good thing about this one is it doesn't matter if it moves because it's not really got a stamp image or an image around it. So you're just cutting out what you want. So I'm going to put these, I'm looking at these, I've got a little butterfly, dragonfly, and a little, I'm going to put it in there and hopefully get a little bit of silver, a little bit of blue. And you can cut out a couple of them if you want to, okay? Not a problem, just come through. You wonder what we're making yet? I did tell you what we're making, but do you not wonder what it looks like? It can be quite daunting when you're cutting up all these things and you don't really know what you're making. Okay, so you can sort of see we've got, how gorgeous is that? We've got a little bit of silver, a little bit of pink, gorgeous on there. Hi, Kay. I just saw your name. I was looking up and saw your name. I know there's a lot of people that can't make it today, and that's quite okay. And I know they'll probably be watching replays, so that's not a problem. To release these, they've got little holes in them, so you can always just release them through the little hole. And you can sort of see we've got a nice pinkish with a bit of silver on it. I love the silver on this paper. If you don't want the silver, you can always use the other side. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, so we're going to put our paper back down because we want another mushroom here. And I'm just going to poke my little dragonflies and that out because I'm just going to pop them out just to see how it came out. Okay, so I've got a little silver snail there and a pink butterfly, and they're so tiny, and a bit of a pink and blue dragonfly. Oh, that's quite nice, so I can keep them as that. I'm happy with them. We just need one more of our little mushroom, so let's do that one. I'm determined to throw all my pieces away today. I don't know why, but I keep grabbing them onto my plates. Okay. I'm going to stand that up out of the way, hopefully. Beautiful. I'm going to wind this through so I don't lose my plate. Okay, and move that back down. Oh, muscles. So you can see now we've cut out 3 mushrooms. We've cut out our little butterfly, our snail, and our dragonfly out of this piece. It doesn't take that long, but when you're cutting it for a lot of people, it takes forever, believe me. So by the time you've done 12 or more kids, you're sort of thinking, oh my God. That's why I sort of said, it'd be good for you to learn how to do it. So this was a product-based one, and I did ask the ladies to buy the product. It would be easier for them, unless they wanted to use something that they had at home. That's not a problem either. Okay, so we've got some pieces all cut out here now. Now we're going to go through our pieces here. We've got some side pieces, so we'll put them up here. These little pieces, put these little pieces up there. We've got some front pieces, which are going to go through an embossing folder. Then we've got some side pieces if you want to use these side pieces. Now these can be put through an embossing folder as well if you want to. These can be put through an embossing folder too if you want to, or you can keep them plain. That's entirely up to you. Okay, keep them there for a minute. So we're going to emboss these, and I actually, you can use whatever embossing folder you have, but this is the Lazy Daisy 3D embossing folder that's just come out, or is coming out on the 3rd. And I thought I'd give you a sneak peek today as well. But you can use any one that you want. I did write down a suggestion one, I think, that you could use. But have a look at this one. This one's quite cute. It's a little bit different. It's got daisies on it. I don't know if you can see it there. I'll bring this piece in. It's quite a nice one. It's got daisies and that on it, so it's quite lovely. Hi Kaz, how are you? I just looked up again. Isn't it amazing when you look up, you see some wonderful people on there. First I saw Kay, then I saw Kaz. I wonder who the next person is that I'm going to see. Okay, so I'm just putting mine in down like that. Okay, so up with our die cutting machine again. But this time we're going to take away plate number 2 and plate number 3. Take them away. We just want plate number 1 and plate number 4. Oh. Okay, slide this through. I've been working flat out this morning. I have done so much writing up instructions for our April post out one, because going away, I just want to make sure I've got everything under control to post them out when I get home. Okay, wind it through. There's still a few vacancies in our April post out. It's filling up fast, but if you're interested in doing it, it's all fun folds. It's still at the special price. April, May is still at the special $45. Our special price, and I've given 6 months of special prices to get going again, and then the prices go back up. Oh, I like that. That is very pretty. I hope you can see that. Okay, so we've got our 3 embossed pieces. So the next part we're going to do is we're going to grab our big white piece, Coastal Cabana piece, and our white piece. So this piece, the smallest piece, which I'll give you the measurements, 15 by 11, is going to go on your Coastal Cabana, and you're going to line that up like that. And the Coastal Cabana is 16 by 12 centimeters, guys. Okay. So we're going to line this up. And put this in here. And then this one is going to go on our base, which is 17 centimetres by 13 centimetres. Okay, so now this is going to go onto here. Now we need our scoreboard. You can do this on, if you don't have a scoreboard, you can do this quite easily on your paper trimmer as well. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, where's my tool? It was sitting here earlier. I've been using it. Oh, I put it away. I knew I was using it. So now we've got some white little strips. Now I'm going to have to refer back to my instruction sheet. So it's saying cut 3 strips of basic white, 18 centimetres by 4 centimetres, and now we're going to do the scoring. Okay, so we're going to score each piece. So we're going to score, oh, I've got it in the centimetres, so I'm going to do it on my paper trimmer. I have got the centimetre board, but I didn't get it out. So I was going to do it on the centimetre board, but I forgot. Sorry, guys. So let's get our paper trimmer out because that's sitting here. And when you do it in centimetres or inches, I quite often will say I'm doing it in inches or I'm doing it in centimetres. Sometimes when you're doing a thumb fold card, it's so much easier to do it in inches because it goes to the inch than what it does in centimetres. Okay, so we're going to score at 2.5. Now, if I've got to score 2.5, I like to do it on this side. I like to do it on the narrow side. I like to line it up at 2.5 on the narrow side because it means that my card is nice and flat. My card stock's nice and flat. My cutting blade's down here so I don't cut. I'm using just my score one. Okay, so 2.5, and then we're going to flip it around. So the 2.5's over here now, and we're going to line it up to the 5. So we're going to line it up to 5. Then we're going to line it up to 13 centimetres. Now, the girls that have got the kits, you've got these written in your instruction sheets, girls. So if for any reason you can just follow that. And then 15.5 or 15.5, which is right at the end over here. So you've got 15 and then a half. Okay, and it should be roughly 2.5 on this end as well. Okay, so if you can't see your 15.5, you can always just do 2.5 on this end as well. Okay, so then we're going to fold these, and you want to make sure that when you're folding them that they are very straight along these lines here. Okay, so when you're folding them, make sure that you have got them lined up nice and straight. And then it's going to fold back this way. So it looks like a little feet like that. So it's going to go this way. So it's going to go a valley, a mountain, then a valley. Okay, so do that with the other two as well. So I'll say it again. We're going to measure it at 2.5 centimetres, which is the the tallest one between the 2 and the 3 on the centimetres if you're finding it hard to read your paper trimmer, because I know when you first start it can be quite daunting. And then to your 5, which is right up to the number 5 on this side. So we've flipped it around and we line it up at the 5. Then we're going to come across to the 13. So to the 13. And then if you like, you can just line it up at the 2.5 again, which is on this side, if that makes it easier for you, or the 15.5, okay? I think sometimes it's just easier to line it up at the 2.5. Okay, so we've got that one done. So once again, we're going to fold that into a mountain and a valley. So a mountain, valley, mountain, valley. Whoop, did it the wrong way. Mountain, valley. Now, like I said, you've got to make sure that they are sitting straight, because if they're not sitting straight at this point, grab your bone folder out and give it another score to make sure that they're sitting straight. Okay, because they need to, when they close, they're going to close onto this, so you want them to be straight. You don't want it sitting up in the air like that. Okay, you don't want that, you want it to sit straight. Okay, so you want it close and straight, not up in the air. Okay, so that's our second one. That can go over the top of our first one. Now let's do the third one. So 2.5. Now the guys that you've got your kits, you do not need to write any measurements down because it's all there for you. Okay, flip it around to 5. And then 13, right up here on 13. And then right over here to 15.5, which is 2.5 on this side. Now I changed this around a little bit, this one, because I wanted it to fit into an envelope. So we're making the envelope next, because sometimes I think it's really nice to make an envelope as well. So mountain fold, then valley fold. Hope I'm not rushing too much for you, because I know I've got some beginners out there and I want you to feel comfortable. What takes forever, Kaz? Sorry, love, I didn't see what you were talking about or whether you answered me on something. Okay, we can put the paper trimmer away for the moment. The next piece that we're going to do is this is the back, this is the front now, so we're going to work on the front. Now you've got this beautiful designer series paper here, which you're going to have to trim off. Okay, which is quite all right. You can trim this off. I just had so many strips, I thought trim that off. So you want to measure in 2.5, 2.5. Okay, so if you're a person that likes to measure, grab yourself a pencil and turn your ruler around. And just measure 2.5 right up the top there, and 2.5 over on this side. Now this is going to sit in between. You're going to do it down the bottom as well, 2.5. So 2.5. Do it in pencil so you can rub it out. You might get it covered with your little pieces. And then 2.5 down the bottom here as well. Make sure you measure that. This helps you, also gives you a guide where you're going to put this, because this isn't going to sit exactly right up against here and here. Okay, it's going to come in the middle. So you're going to have a little bit of gap, just about a 0.5 of a gap. Now what I would do is I turn it over like this. Line it up to the top and turn it over like this. Make sure it's lined up to your top, and then you can sort of, I can see the orange up the top, so I'm trying to see, you can see the orange up the top, so I'm just going to push that back, and you can just mark it here when you're going to cut it across. I do this on the paper trimmer because then that way where your mark is, you're going to get it pretty straight right across. I'm going to turn it around because I want it to come over so this is flat and I can see where my pencil mark is. And I can just bring my cut up straight away and cut that little piece off the bottom. Okay. Then we're going to come back here and you can decide whether you want the pink, the orange, the yellow, whatever colour dot you have, where you want to place it. So we're going to glue this. Now you don't have to put designer series paper in here. You could do a panel of white or pink or, oh, I didn't quite cut enough off. Whatever colour you want, and you can run it through an embossing machine. You can sort of see I just didn't quite cut enough off, so I'm going to grab my paper snips while it's like this, nice and flat. Okay, and just straighten that up there. Okay, so now you can see that it is nice and flat. So I think I might have the pink up the top. It doesn't really matter. You can have it whichever side you want. Now before we do any more, pop that aside just for a minute because we're going to stick these on while this is flat. This is going to go into the centre of the two score lines in the centre. Okay, your two mountain folds. So it's going to go in between your two mountain folds. You'll have a little border around it. Every time I make these, I make them a little bit different. Sometimes I have borders, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have it in designer series paper, sometimes I like to emboss. So it just depends what you're actually adding onto it. Okay, so you can sort of see you've got that little border around. It will take a little bit longer than half an hour, this card, because it's a fairly detailed card. Okay, and I am not rushing because I know I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. You're going to love it though when it's done. So we're going to have this one on here. It's going to come together pretty quick when it's done. Okay, and then our last one, I'm going to put this on. Now you probably need some little dimensions or just cut up some big ones in half and half again. Depends what you have in your stash. So if you've got some baby ones, grab your little baby ones out. We have our side bits. Now this is where you can choose whether you put them on or not. It's optional, but I have put the pieces in there for you. You can stick them there. You can stick the panels coming down over the top like this if you want to when it's stuck together. So I have put the panels in as well. Or you can put the small pieces just to the edge and keep them plain. So it's really a choice to where you want to put your pieces, okay? So let me grab this piece here that I have done a little bit for you. So you can see this is the back, and then this one I've stuck my pieces on. Okay, so I haven't embossed these, I've just left them plain, but I've put my piece over here. Now when you fold it across, it should come to the other side of the card. Okay, so you can sort of see that lines up that side, or if you fold it that side, it's going to fold up to the edge of the card that way. Okay, so you can sort of see it's going to go either way. So now what I do is I stick my top one on and my bottom one on, and then I work out where my middle one's going to go. Okay, you can stick these on after. I'm going to do the long strips this time, just something different, because I've done quite a few with the other way. So you can do them whichever way you want. So we're just going to put the glue on these two outer pieces, on your 2.5 inch pieces. So don't go too close to the edge, because you don't want the glue to pop out onto your card. You want to keep it, if you can, glue free. Okay, you don't want glue on that bit. So we're going to do this one first. We're going to line it right up to the top, into the corner, fold it, line it up, and then come down with this one. So we know that it's going to go in there really great. Okay, so you can sort of see that that's moving either way perfectly. So now we're going to do the same at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to do the bottom of the card now. A little bit of glue into the 2.5 areas, just on the ends. Okay, so we're going to come down this one first. We're going to make sure that it's right into the corner of the bottom. Then we're going to press that over. Oh. And make sure that it folds beautifully. I've got a bit of hair there. And then it can fold back the other way. Then our middle piece is up to you whether you... I washed my hair and I'm molting, I'm sure of it. I keep getting hair everywhere. You can measure or you can eyeball it. Okay, so it doesn't really matter, whichever way you want to go. If you feel more comfortable just doing one side with glue on it at a time, that's fine too. You sort of can come down and you can sort of do one side. And that looks pretty good, because then that way you're sort of not worrying about this side having glue on it and getting it everywhere. So then you can glue this side. And this is going to come down in between. You just got to make sure it's lined up on the edge here, that it doesn't slide over the edge. Okay. I love the liquid glue because it gives you a little bit of give. So hopefully that looks straight. Looks pretty good. Okay. Then you can come through if you want to, and you can put your little pieces down if you want to, emboss them if you want to emboss them. You can come through with your long strips also if you want to. You can come in through with these ones. You can emboss them or you can leave them plain. I'll leave mine plain and just do the gluing down. But you can emboss them. You can stamp on them. You can add designer series paper to them. You can do so much. It's entirely up to you. Now this goes right up to those fold lines, right up to your crease lines, right up to the top and the bottom. So it goes into your crease lines there. Okay, and then we've got this piece here too. Keep these for another one. You can use them on another one, or you can use them down the side if you want to cover the side as well. So it really is a choice how much you want to decorate it up. Okay, who you're giving it to, who you want to decorate it up for, etc. Turn this one around. I've got to come in to the bottom, to the top, push it into the crease line. If a little bit hangs over, it's not going, well, not that it has, but if it does, it's not going to matter because it will look like a little bit of attachment there. So this one has hanged over just a little bit at the top. So I can cut that off a little bit while I've got it flat before I put anything else on it. Okay, how cute is this? Now we're going to do some dressing up. Now we're going to stamp out. I'm going to have Hello Friend from the Sweet Bug stamp set. And I'm just going to use the Memento black ink. Hello Friend. Just grab that. Line him up. Grab a block. Okay. You can use whatever colour ink you want. And you can just stamp Hello Friend on here. And it didn't go over the silver really good, so I'm going to do it on the pink side. Isn't it good we have two sides to each paper? That's better. Okay. So now we want some big dimensions. If you've got big dimensions, I wasn't thinking of it not stamping over. You could probably do a heat emboss on it if you wanted to. That would go over the top of it. Versamark and embossing powder. But today we're just going to do it this way. The other side of the paper. It's what I love about this double-sided paper. Two sides. Okay, so this is just coming in here. Hello Friend. You can put it in the middle if you want to. You can put it wherever you want. You don't want it too much higher than the top of your card. You don't want it too much higher. And then we're going to have our little bumblebee here. We're going to put a couple of, or one big dimension in there, I think, is all we need for him. And he is going on here. Then we're going to grab our caterpillar. Now the caterpillar, you want to be careful because you don't want to put dimensions up here. You just want to put one towards the bottom part. So I'm just going to put a small one on the leaf down there. And then I'm going to put one there and one a bit closer, not right to the top because he's going to hang off a little bit. So I'm going to put him in there. So in those centres, only 3, you don't need any more. Okay, and he is going to, you can bring this over when you're sticking him down. He's going to come in here, so we're going to squeeze them down and that dimension. Now he's going to have that tiny little butterfly or dragonfly, whichever you choose. Where did I put mine? Over here, my little butterfly. I'm going to use the blue side this time because I've got the pink up there, so I'm going to use the blue. Just a tiny little bit of glue in the center, and that can sit. Close him up. You can sit on these leaves. Okay, so he's sitting on the leaf. You can put a dimension behind him if you want to, that's in your choice. And then we've got our little mushrooms that we're going to add 2 little dimensions to. Always handy to always have big and little dimensions in your kit. And this is going down here. And then we've got that snail, that little snail. He's so cute. Mine's silver, tiny little one. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on him. And it's only a little bit because I don't want it coming out through the splits. And he's just going to come in just underneath here. Okay, and then our bottom one, we're going to put our mushrooms. So we're going to, might need to cut a little bit of the mushrooms off. That's okay if you have to. We're just going to put a big mushroom behind the first one, the big dimension behind the small mushroom, I should say. He's just going to come in here like this. And then the one with the trumpet, we're going to put a couple of little ones behind him. And it is easier when you're pushing these on to fold it to the side, okay, and add these in. Okay, so we've got that one. We've got our big one going in next, but we're going to have it sitting up a little bit. So you want a little dimension just on that stemmy part here, right in there. Okay, you can always add more a bit later, but get this organised first because you might have to trim this one off as well. I want this one coming up just to the top of there, so that goes in there. And we want the one with the flag, the little guy with the flag, a little ant with the flag. Okay, he's coming in here. Hi Narelle, good to see you on. So he's coming on here. And then we've got our last little mushroom. He's coming in this way, so, or up this way. So you can put a little dimension over here because it's going to stick onto the big one. And you can put one over this side because it's going to sit on the card. So this one's going to come on, sort of lift that up. So our dimension's sitting there and down there. And then we're going to put our last little one on that's sort of looking behind to see if anyone else is coming. We're going to put 2 little dimensions on him. How's everyone going? I know if you're cutting your own out, it's going to take you a lot longer to cut all the pieces out and do it. So probably good to watch the replay and redo it. And he's just going to come sitting in there. Okay, so here's our first card. Okay, how cute is this? And it just folds over this way or this way. We're going to make the envelope next in the next class. So you can do lots with this, okay? And this is where you write your message. So you can actually decorate a bit of this up too if you wanted to. That's entirely up to you. So I hope you enjoyed card number 1. This was our triple bridge card, fold card. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we're going to come back at 2 o'clock. We're going to have a 10-minute break to give you time to grab your next kit out and get organised for the envelope. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all back here very soon. Bye for now.